I love this place. It's the best place on earth because you can have just such a good time and it doesn't fucking matter. It's just filled with such lovely people. Everybody that I've met that comes in here is just the best kind of people and the kind of people you want to surround yourself with. I'm Johnny. I work in the entertainment industry and I play D&D. Me and Josh first met at work as we worked together. And yeah, we work in the same department. And we kind of hit it off, just doing odd jobs together, and found out we had quite a few bits in common, and became good friends from there. I've known him for about 9 months, 10 months at this point, so for us to have a relationship where it's almost like we've known each other for years, and with that involved with each other's lives and spend so much time with each other, you have to have a good friendship, and you have to be able to bounce off of each other, and yeah, it's good.
So as of April this year, it's been 4 years since me and Josh have been together. We met up for quite a few dates and we got serious quite quickly, in a good way. And we had a first holiday, we moved in together, everything just kind of went quite nice, chronologically really. And we've always kind of been into this D&D gaming and all sorts. So I think that's what's brought us together, and that's what kind of made us feel like we were right for each other, sort of thing.
I enjoy listening to podcasts, and I was watching some Critical Role, and I actually really got into it, and it's one of the things that got me through lockdown when I was in a really, really dark place. Yeah, we were making cables up, and I just had it on in the background. I was like, "What's that?" I was like, "Oh, it's you will probably won't know, you be bothered by it. It's just this thing. It's about D&D." I was like, "Oh, I bought this thing over lockdown." We chatted a bit more, and I found out he also bought the same thing and wanted to do it with some people, and from there, that's where we started playing D&D together. So I played once before, but only after finding out that Josh was into playing Dungeons and Dragons as well.
We're sort of playing together more. We used to play just on computers and game consoles before, but it just wasn't the same. I think this playing D&D and socialising and in our own house, it's just a lot better. It brings a different kind of atmosphere to it, a different kind of character to the relationship in general.
First wanting to play it was during lockdown. Obviously, like everybody else, bored out your head. Started watching videos on YouTube, Twitch. A couple of friends were already talking about it, so I thought, roughly, I have a lot of time on my hands. Thought it'd be quite cool to now start trying to get into it more. I've always enjoyed the aspect of it and enjoyed watching the old amazing but crappy 90s and 80s cartoons of Dungeons and Dragons on a little roller coaster. But yeah, before that I used to play Neverwinter Online. And that was, again, D&D, and I thought, why not take it to the next level and turn my bar into a D&D tabletop room.
I first learned about D&D actually when I was really young. I think I must have been about 6, and I think I accidentally played it without realising it's D&D. And I remember really liking it, and there was a game that we played on what was the GameCube at the time, and it was very similar concept. I can't remember the name of it. It was a role play game as well. I asked my friend what it was called, and she says she can't recall. Since then, I've not even looked upon D&D again until now.
I've had the one experience prior to the sessions that we have now. And that was real simple. Barbarian doesn't talk much. I was the same class, same race as my brother. They were a lot more into the role play kind of aspect of it, which when you're a new player is a bit, oh my god, these people are strange.
Literally, we just kind of threw ourselves straight into it. Like I said, on the previous experience, we were genuinely just playing computer games or just playing computer games.
I wouldn't consider myself dragged into it. I think I definitely loved the idea of doing it again, because I guess for me, it was taking me back to my childhood a little bit as well, and actually playing it properly and being aware of what I'm playing. But the first ever session actually went really well. And then since then, I've just been hooked, really. So
I thought, you know what, let's try it. A couple of friends had already reached out and engaged about it. Like, we started making a couple of characters here and there, made some random campaign up. I thought I was just going to be playing. Turns out I ended up DMing. That was scary, but interesting, to say the least.
Went into a session where there was Josh, about 5 or 6 others as well. So it was already quite a big group. I think there was 5 others. So it was already quite a big group. And Josh was DMing, and that was great because when you don't know what's going on and nobody knows what's going on, it's a right laugh because you're like, can I do this? I don't know. Maybe I can do this.
There's a different kind of aura when you play it in real life than there is on a game, because I love sort of the social aspect of it, and I never actually expected to enjoy it as much. I didn't know whether a bit of social anxiety might kick in or anything like that.
The social aspect of it is absolutely fantastic. Like I said, because we all work a lot, we don't tend to get a lot of time to sit down and actually see each other or talk to each other. But having that, again, one night a week or one night every 2 weeks or so, it's just been great to get round, catch up, have a few drinks, a few laughs.
So Josh got made redundant from his work. I still had my work, luckily, but he sort of needed a project. He started off with a shed, which I was not that pleased about, but I guess we need a shed. And then once the shed was built, he was then bored. I thought, oh dear, he needs something to keep him busy. So then he says, oh, why don't we build a bar?
Always like a party bar. And we had an absolutely awesome night one night just before we were meant to be travelling away. And that's when I first found out about the bar's existence.
I've always wanted to build a bar in the garden or have something like this, like a room from home, an escape as such, I'd say. So as soon as I moved out and got my house, it was like, I want a bar. Obviously the missus was like, no, you're not having a bar. As you can tell, that clearly worked.
I built the bar, then he extended the bar. There's a whole history about this bar, but it kept him busy and it kept him sort of happy during COVID. And then when COVID finally started to settle and everybody was sort of safe, we could then open the bar to more people and we could actually utilise it better. But the bar itself has changed so many times and drastically changed.
But no, it just tended to it started off small, got bigger and bigger, developed. And then it generally, as soon as we started playing Dungeons and Dragons, other games also started to filter in. So we just decided to alter the bar to suit more of what it were getting used for.
I think the bar, of course, it always needs a bit of TLC, a bit of nip and tuck here and there. The style of it is a lot better because before it looked like a rundown pub, a bit old, and dated, and I wasn't 100% pleased with it. So I've asked to renovate it a bit, and it looks a little bit more modern. But it's just never going to be a settled bar where the design is set, because me and Josh, I've always got ideas.
For it to change, I was a bit like, wow, that's quite a commitment to it, to change it. But then Josh has those moments of, well, I'm just going to do it, so I'm going to do it, and it's done. So
because Josh loves to just make things, anything that I need in the house, I would like to get for the house, he'll always say, oh, I'll just make it. Well, the D&D table was his perfect little I'll make it sort of project.
Right, cool. Well, I've got a bar, I've got a place to do it. I just need something to do it on. And that's where we started brainstorming a table ideas.
While we were at work one day, we had a quiet spell. We drafted up a rough fag packet sketch.
So we'd be just working away and go, what about this? Put LEDs in this. Oh, well, I don't really know what I'm doing. Oh, but you do. I was like, yeah, okay, well, I'll put LEDs in it. It's fine, yeah, but what are you going to put it on? Oh, I don't know. I was like, well, what about this, that, and the other? I was like, oh, yeah, that's a cracking idea. But what if we did this? I'm like, that's awesome.
Started cutting some wood, and lo and behold, we made the first very small table. A nice cushion side, had a nice pit in it, some LED around it. LED makes everything better.
It didn't quite go to plan, the first table, because things here and there just weren't working and it wasn't balanced and it wasn't working out. It wasn't big enough.
Somehow we managed to fit 8 people round.
we could barely even fit a drink and the book and all our notes. Everybody struggled, I think, but nobody said anything.
We decided to remake the table on a basis of, one, we needed more people. Well, no, we didn't need more people. We were sick of people playing like this. It was falling apart. The legs were just horrendous. It was like playing on a piece of jelly.
Now that we've got a nice sturdy one, it's definitely helped improve in terms of where people are sat. The DM sits comfortably at the end. It's really user-friendly. I mean, you've got cup holders and everything on there.
It's a nice size because you can easily get 3 people down either side, 2 people on end. Nice enough depth. It was purposely made enough depth so the DM's got enough space around here for laptop, board.
So now we've got a much bigger table. We've got rid of the pit. When you DM, it's really hard to see into it because you've got a big screen in front of you. So then you have to look over the screen and then into a pit, and nightmare. Let's raise it up and then everybody can see it a lot easier.
And it definitely works a lot better because any little we can use it both as a table for D&D, or we can use it just to kind of play any other game. It doesn't have to be for D&D.
Most of the people in the group I know either from childhood friends, work colleagues, family, Marion one of them.
His fiance and his next door neighbours, his best mates that he grew up with.
Most of them are from Josh's side. So we've got Josh's colleagues, Josh's friends from when he was really young.
Josh's mum playing with us as well, which is a strange concept, and I love it.
Literally just come across different people as life goes on, and then we've somehow managed to pull them all together and sit them in a room and get drunk and play dragons.
I think initially when we first started playing D&D, I wasn't 100% sure with how people would take it, whether they'd enjoy it.
Getting a lot of people together has made it a lot nicer for people to find the social groupings that they probably wouldn't have found without this, I guess.
I think finding a lot of people that are like-minded to be in that game is very strange.
Some of the people aren't from round here anyway. They moved up from down south and they didn't know anybody. Bringing them into it has gotten to know other people.
I'd like to think that, we were always going to make good friends. Once you find people that you get along with on the outside and then bringing them into a game of D&D, you kind of always know that it would probably make us all closer.
Considering when we first played, we'd never met each other, or we'd not really met each other. And now I could pull up to somebody's house and go, "Oh, hey, you right? How you doing? You looking forward to Friday? Hey."
I think D&D brings out a sort of another sort of side to everybody because not everybody feels comfortable enough to role play in front of other people, especially when they're new.
When we first started playing, I was very sceptical about who were playing. I thought a lot of people were just doing it generally to be like nice.
I was definitely surprised that everybody took so well.
Like they've been out, bought books, they met the characters online, like generally enjoying it and not just being here for the sake of being here.
The people that we didn't even expect to enjoy that much just as blossomed from it.
But yeah, we were absolutely flabbergasted by how many people took to it.
We didn't actually focus on the role playing on D&D initially just to get people comfortable.
It's not absolutely crucial, and I think it's a DM's responsibility to not make people feel uncomfortable.
All of the group don't always engage in the role-playing aspects. There's a number of people that does. It changes from weekly depending on how people are, how tired they are. But no, most people do engage in the role-playing aspect. If not the role-playing, the decision-making and the talkativeness. Some of them don't always go to town on what their character would do or how they would be.
But everybody's different. Everybody needs to get into it in their own way.
We kind of created it as a more of a social sort of aspect. And then the more we played it, the more everybody did actually get into the full concept of D&D.
And the people should be able to play how they want to play. And if they don't want to deal with that, then they shouldn't have to deal with that.
Which is fine, everybody's to do whatever they want to do. But now everybody still seems to really enjoy it, even though they don't get involved in the role-playing sections much. Some of us get together on a Thursday and play Magic the Gathering. Then on a Friday we either go out around town together, or we drink in here, or we drink to my dad's, or we do a barbecue. We all do a lot more things other than playing D&D now.
I think because of COVID, there was a lot of course restrictions on, seeing loved ones and socialising. And I think D&D kind of brought us back together again and sort of made everybody more comfortable to be around each other again in a confined room.
We are a lot closer as people than quite a few others would be, you know, if that makes sense.
And everybody's more comfortable with everybody. Nobody's anxious around each other or shy, or everybody just at themselves now. They've all come out, and it's been great. The first game of the group was me, because nobody really knew anybody. Everybody were a bit nervous. I knew everybody, and yeah, so I threw some. Well, I didn't throw some together. I bought the starter set, The Lost Minds of Phandalin. I just threw some together out of that and just roll with it. Completely made it up. Watched a few videos to help me. Completely got sidetracked to multiple things. People saying that I had no idea what they were going to say. You just had to roll with it. I guess I was nervous at first because you're like, well, will people? This is kind of the key selling point. To will people actually enjoy it and engage? If I do a shit job, people might not want to play again. But yeah, it was a bit nerve wracking at first, but as soon as I got sat down, you could see people were engaging. For a good laugh, just roll with it then. Having a mixture of DMs in the group is good because we can help each other out. So say 1 week I don't want to do it, Nick can pick it up, or Johnny can pick it up, or vice versa.
I really enjoy it because it means my head can just run away with things. It's incredibly difficult. It really is incredibly difficult.
I was excited to see how it goes. There's a lot of preparation to go into it. I did not expect that. But no, it was good. It was good to just throw something together, read it to people. You can't literally just sit down and write something. It don't work like that. You've got to have ideas flowing. So we could read in the book. I have no idea how I'm going to fix this into an encounter.
Because you have to try and get what's in your head down on paper, and when you haven't got that creative flurry, and you know you've got a session coming up in a couple of days' time, you're like, oh my god, what am I going to do?
You could just be stood up at work working like, shit, I've got an idea for this now. You ain't got a pen or a paper to write it down. You get home and it's like it's gone. Like, damn it.
I struggle with a lot going on at the same time. So to have a group of 8-9 people in your session, the chaos is just unbelievable.
You literally need ideas. You can't just sit down and force yourself to write something.
I've kind of figured out that if you can make it slightly vaguer and other people come to conclusions, and that inspires you whilst you're playing to write something slightly different and to tailor it to how the players want it to be. And that's what it is. It's story. You're making a story writing with 10 collective minds.
The more experience you do and the more time you spend on it, definitely come a lot more easier to you. It's just the amount how busy we all are. None of us have really got time to fully get involved in it, which is why it's just a good laugh to throw something together and just let the guys ride with it and just see what the hell happens.
And you don't have to write loads about it. You don't need to write a massive backstory straight away. You don't have to have something planned out in its entirety. You could just write little bits here and there, and that's what creates a big story behind it and almost engulfs people to play around. And you can describe it to your heart's content, but there'll always be a little detail that you forget to say, or there'll always be something that you miss. And a character might pick up on something and go, oh yeah, but what about this? I go, oh, I didn't really think about that. I don't know.
As far as role-playing NPCs go, you try and use voices and use actions, and you just end up with random wave gestures and different voices every time you play it, or they all end up sounding the same, or you try and do something funny. It always ends up being funny, but sometimes you might try to be serious, and people just start laughing. It's like, well, leave me alone. I'm just trying to be serious. But no, it's a tricky one, role-playing NPCs, because you always forget what you can say, what you're supposed to say. Should you know that? Oh, crap, you shouldn't know that. You just ruined it, and stuff like that. Or your party just wants to murder the NPC. Like, no, or they hate the NPC. It's like, no, he's a key part of the story. Don't kill him.
I thought I'd dislike it at first with the chaos that ensued on the first time we did it, but people have settled down because they actually really want to play it.
It's fun to see everybody's reaction. At the end of the session, did you enjoy it? Yeah, and then hearing what their favourite parts were, what they didn't enjoy, what they did enjoy. Watching them scratch their heads when it's something really stupidly simple and they overcomplicate it themselves. It's really funny when they think, oh yeah, we can take this guy on, boom, dead. Or they just do really stupid stuff and it's like, no, it don't work like that. And it's just really fun. The whole aspect of it can be a laugh.
So I was a Dragonborn monk, but I thought they would go really well together, but I've kind of figured out that they don't go as much. So I've recently changed my character to a Dragonborn rogue. So because obviously the character's fairly new, I'm still sort of learning more about being a rogue as opposed to being a monk. I did enjoy being a monk. It was great. It just didn't work quite well with being a Dragonborn.
I play a fallen Asimir Paladin, I think. It's been that long I forgot. Recently, Johnny's been running his own like custom campaign where I played a bard, a human variant bard, and we killed him off because why not?
Dragonborn itself, I think that's just always my standard race. I absolutely love dragons, so it brings me closer to being one. I mean, I've got some dragon wings. Josh bought me them, but I need more, I think. But they're purple and they are the wrong colour.
I'm now playing a wood elf druid. It's quite cool. It's quite interesting. So far, the druid and the paladin are the best I've played. The bard were cool, but they were a bit boring. You just want to sing all the time, and everybody just got annoyed and threw things at you.
Given my background, I love sort of Japanese and ninjas and things like that. So that's what kind of draw me towards being a monk. But it just didn't quite work out. But being the rogue now, the Dragonborn rogue, I think it's going well.
I've only had one session playing as a druid, but so far I've really enjoyed playing him. It's just, like you said, you can just like throw a thorn whip at somebody or create a cyclone of dust, or just turn into a bear and start eating people.
In this particular game, in terms of role playing, I feel like I'm more of a follower, whereas that doesn't always represent me in real life. I tend to be more of a leader, but yeah, in D&D, I enjoy just being a follower. So I just kind of role playing, and my character just emerges with however the game goes.
I try and get into role playing the best I can when I play my characters. As you can see, I've got like a paladin helmet, some hammers, and some other bits and bats kicking down there. I try and get everybody else more involved in the whole role playing, so we've only got 2 or 3 people that actually do it.
What helped was that because everybody else was role playing really well, it kind of gives you that boost to sort of carry on and do really well with your own character role play. So yeah, no, I do enjoy it.
Yeah, role playing the character definitely helps you explore and gets more into that character. You kind of more visualize and more feel how they would want to react towards things. So you could come to a battle, instead of just running in guns blazing with your axe or whatever you want to do, you might think, oh, let's try a political sense of trying to not kill a guy, get some information out of him.
I am actually learning more about my character, yeah, as I'm role playing. I don't usually have sort of just a set plot and story or idea. I just kind of go with the flow sort of thing, and sort of role playing just comes with how the night goes and how everybody else is expressing themselves.
Standout moments always tend to be Anna murdering somebody or doing something stupid that you wanted to do. For example, we literally started a campaign the other day. The first person we met was a key part of the campaign. We murdered him and buried him in a flower bed. Or they didn't want to kill people in this house, so they just burnt the house to the ground. It's just stupid stuff like that that's just really funny.
You always remember the times where you kept rolling good numbers, where I kept rolling a d20 or I just rolled really high, and you kind of feel like you've achieved something.
Or literally the first ever session we did, we're all getting to know each other, we're all figuring out how to play. Anna looks at me and goes, "Am I hungry?" I'm like, how do you even answer that question? Are you hungry? Do you want to eat? You do whatever you want to do.
I definitely whooped some ass one session. I was rolling them d20s absolutely well, and thanks to me, we destroyed a monster very quickly and nobody died, so I will take credit for that.
Honestly, I didn't think the D&D sessions would be going this long as anyway. I didn't think we'd get this far. But as far as it goes, I think we'll just keep going. Or at least until I move or I shut that down. And then I'll just start up a new one.
I feel like I've made a lot more personal relationships with people very quickly than I have with other people. I just really enjoy myself and find myself really enjoying the company of those people more than I have done before. I think that's why I enjoy being in this bar so much. I think that's why I enjoy playing so much. Whether it's DMing or playing, because I'm being with those people that are like-minded, that want to experience the same thing whether it's the same way or whether it's a slightly different way, it doesn't really matter. We're always wanting to do the same thing. Otherwise, we wouldn't turn up every week for it. I wouldn't go out my way to tell work, no, I'm not doing this on Friday night because I'm going to go and do this, and that's what I do on Friday nights.
As far as the sessions continue, I think it's great. It's something to look forward to on a week. You've had a hard week at work, you can come in here, have a few drinks, and just switch off and just be somebody else. You're not. It's wicked. Everybody enjoys it. Nobody likes to be boring on a Friday night. We don't always like to go out and get hammered. We've not all got the money to do that, so we all come in here. We can have drinks and just have a laugh.
The thing that made me able to play D&D was Josh, because he had the space where you could actually roll it in person in a lot relaxed atmosphere. If I was left to my own devices, I probably wouldn't have engaged in it as much. I might have dabbled in it here and there, but I wouldn't be in the position that I'm in now with the good friends that I've made.
I guess the thing that pleases me most about starting these sessions is how people have glued and bringing all the people in and people enjoying it. You can see that people physically enjoy the sessions, and it's not just been, they're not just turning up because they feel sorry for you because you've got no friends or they've got nothing better to do on a Friday night. You can see they actually enjoy it. One of the main concerns at start were that people were just turning up because they didn't want to say no to. And now you can tell by this point is I want to say no to them, and then they can never get out of the bar.
There's 2 moments of the week that I look forward to, and that's my Tuesdays where I go to pub quiz, where I see my other friends, and the Fridays I have where I put on a hat, I put on a nice shirt that's got skulls on it, and I DM, or I put on a different shirt and a different hat and play a character who I could want to be or not want to be or whatever. That's what I really enjoy about it. That's D&D.